Hi, my name is Susan Poole. Great to be back here on my third Coinsbank blockchain cruise, and each year, of course, they're more amazing and more exciting and more people, which is great. Currently, I work with the European Union as part of their blockchain observatory and forum, which is pretty exciting because I get to meet a lot of people in Europe with expertise from academia, government, enterprise, and startups, and it's a really interesting time to be in blockchain, and I'm really happy that I was invited to be part of this European Union blockchain observatory and forum. In addition to that, I work on special projects, different projects, and it just depends. I do go-to-market for startups. I help curate events. It's a wide variety of things, which is great for me because in most of my career I was doing one stream, and when you come into Bitcoin or blockchain, you can really be your own entrepreneur if you want, and you can have multiple things going on. In fact, many people do. So it's quite interesting. My background is setting up international sales entities for Microsoft, VMware, and also in the US. And so I've done a lot of work in the technical side on the sales entity startups and a lot of international work. So based upon that, our industry's changed over the last few years. So I've tried to evolve my work as the industry changes. It's so interesting because when I first got into this space, people were talking about Bitcoin and the word blockchain was almost never used. And then it was Ethereum, Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then it was Litecoin, a little bit of Dogecoin on the side. And so that was exciting. And then the ICO boom happened last year. Bitcoin price went up to 20K, it's down to like 6K. So one thing I'll say, it's always evolving. Second thing I'll say is do not panic. And also, you have to have a lot of fortitude to be in this space, but I really still believe in the fundamentals of the crypto revolution and that it is going to change the financial systems of the world. And so can I predict what's going to happen next year or the year after? I cannot, but I definitely will be in the game. Well, I had a mentor that was my boss many years ago. He's a CEO of a company. He was very successful in software. He sent me an invitation. Well, he sent it to 30 people, and he said, fly to Chicago in 2 days and I will immerse you in the Bitcoin ecosystem. And I was like, Bitcoin? Wow, okay, I've heard of that. So after that, I literally changed my whole life. I left my career in software executive sales area. I decided this Bitcoin is going to change the world. I don't know how, I don't know when. I hope it gives financial freedom to disadvantaged people in third world countries, and even in America we have 40 million people who don't have credit and cannot get banking accounts. So these type of people will benefit. I was probably a little naive at the time because I didn't realize that wasn't going to happen overnight. Recently I spoke at the University of California, and the whole talk, they had a blockchain day. The whole talk was about you don't have to know blockchain or digital currency to change your career into this industry. And what I mean by that is the following. Now that there are ecosystem companies in blockchain and Bitcoin, they don't just need engineers. They need marketing, accounting, HR, human resources. They need all the things you have as other ecosystems are built. And it was so great, and I gave them some resources of websites, and literally people came up to me afterwards and they said, I thought I had to be a blockchain expert to get in this industry. And I said, no, take your marketable skills that you have now. They need accountants, they need everything. And I felt like that is a message I really want to bring to the world about getting into digital currency or blockchain. Before there was Bitcoin, everyone else was doing something else. So if you came into the Bitcoin ecosystem, if you were an engineer or a CEO, that's what you did here. And the same thing with blockchain. People were programmers, or they were advertising or marketing or PR, and so it is changing to a different field. I will say though that some of the characteristics you might want to give to yourself are being curious, wanting to learn, being challenged, and helping to build something. I would say, it's not just about Europe, which was very relevant. It's globally, and I think as evidenced on this cruise. The cruise is global, right? I mean, when you live in America, the events are in America. Most Americans go to the American events, and some of them go overseas. But it's fantastic to see that there's just so many countries represented here. So that means that people that could sit home every day and look at Bitcoin charts, they had to take an action. I believe you have to step up, take an action, and make a decision and get out into the game. And so every person who made a decision to come on this cruise decided, I'm not going to sit at home and look at the internet. I want to go meet people. I want to network. I want to be learning, and a lot of it is about learning. And so that's kind of what I see is happening. People have bought Bitcoin, then they traded, the ICOs came out, and now it's kind of like the 2.0 of let's all get that next level of learning and build the rest of the ecosystem out. The interesting thing is somebody sent me a message today that one of the, I guess, popular people in the crypto industry made some sort of prediction about, not a soft prediction, like things are going to go up in 3 months or something. And I said, nobody knows. This is uncharted territory. It's like nobody knows what's going to happen. So the other thing, that I'm glad you asked me that actually, because the other thing you want to do is you have to make your own decisions. It's great to get advice, but for every person who tells you that digital currency is going to go up, you have another who tells you it will go down. And I think most of us who've been in the space a little while have had the experience of thinking that everyone else knows more than me. Nobody knows if Bitcoin's going to go up or down, or altcoins. So you get as much information as you can, you make cautious decisions, and you really, as one of the speakers said today, you really need to understand the fundamentals, and if you believe that digital currency will make an impact on bettering the world, then you'll probably stick with it. However, you have the option, if you just want to flip and trade, it's a lot more high risk, but you can do that too. Everyone can do what they want in this industry. When I came into the space, I'm a little bit older than probably a lot of women that came into the space originally, and I was welcomed with open arms. And it's exciting, it's invigorating, and I've met so many people. Obviously, there's a predominance of men in the space. But you know what? That's okay, because nobody gave you a ticket to come into Bitcoin. Nobody gave you a ticket to come in blockchain. You self-initiated. Now, historically, we have a lot of men, more men in the technical fields, so obviously more men were going to come from their existing, to your great question earlier, to the new field. I'm paying attention to it, though. I want it always to be welcoming to women, diversity, all kinds of people. And we have to make sure that happens now, because we're creating a new culture, a new environment. We need decentralized thought, of different types of thought as we build this up, so that it doesn't go just down one way. I got into Bitcoin as a philosophy, and the philosophy that I thought would happen quicker, but now I've learned, is banking for the unbanked. Because even being in America, like I said, 40 million people, because of credit issues, or they don't make enough money, or they made a bad decision, or something happened, they cannot get bank accounts. So they have to go to like Western Union and all of these centers, and they have to pay fees and fees and fees, just because they are not the same as someone else who made different decisions or had a different life experience and who doesn't have to pay fees. So why is that unequal? It shouldn't be. But there hasn't been the technical infrastructure or the fintech in place to enable everybody to be their own self and not to be penalized, because it's all these older systems and processes. So I feel very strongly about the philosophy of Bitcoin. It's not indulgence, it's an opportunity for people who don't have fair access to things that other people have. A lot of times, I guess I would not say bad decisions, it's more like their life experiences, whatever reason why, put them in a scenario where they don't have access to a bank account. So when you get a bank account in America, like they run your credit report or they run something, and if you don't hit every point, then they go, you can't have a bank account. Well, okay, then you have to go pay huge fees at a third-party intermediary. And so it is the opportunity. It's not going to be immediate, because people are busy working and they're taking care of their families or their friends or and they need to learn. So one of the challenges we have is the mass adoption of Bitcoin. And so that's going to be something that's going to take a little time, but something will happen. They call it like the killer app. We don't know what the killer app is. Like Uber was a killer app. Airbnb was a killer app on the internet, right? When the internet came out, did we ever think that people would pick us up in their personal car outside of our house that we didn't know? No, because there was no way to do it. So a lot's going to happen. We just don't quite know when. But if people really want to get into Bitcoin, please know that you can do peer-to-peer transactions now, but the more extensive things are going to take a little more time. But if you believe in the fundamental philosophy, then you won't care if it's going to take more time, because you're in it for the long haul, not just for flipping your money. I have to say, I don't agree that there's a community in crypto, because crypto is for every person on the planet. And I want to quote Nick Szabo, who some believe is Satoshi. I don't know who Satoshi is. Some don't believe that. But, on Twitter recently, somebody talked about what should we do in the community, and he said there's no community. That's not the point. The point is not centralization. The point is every person is an individual. So I don't believe there's a community. It's a good question. I don't believe there's a community. I would say within, I call it the ecosystem, which includes the engineers, everybody, and the technology. There just needs to be, one thing is there needs to be a lot more technical people coming into it, so we need to have a bit more awareness. And I think when I was on the women's panel, they asked us, what do you think is the biggest need? And my answer was awareness. Just like when I told people, take your accounting degree or your accounting skill and come into blockchain, they're like, what? So we need awareness that people, we want them to come in and help build, and we need really good projects. People say, like, how do I get started in Bitcoin? One of the easiest things to do, and it's free, is to get involved in your local Bitcoin community. So around the world, they have a thing called Meetup, and people that are passionate about Bitcoin or blockchain, they create these meetups, and all you do is go, and they just talk about Bitcoin, but you know what, you learn. The people there are passionate. They want more people to come in and learn, and so it's almost like you get mentors in classes, and you just go to a meetup. And that's where you can start. And then also, going to events. The events world is a bit weird right now. What happened was events started taking off, and people that were not in Bitcoin or blockchain with no commitment saw an opportunity to make a lot of money, and the quality has been up and down. Now, obviously, this is my third Coinsbank cruise, and I will be on every one in the future. This is a high quality event for networking, learning, and building business connections. Not all the events are, but go to an event, make sure you vet it, check out who the speakers are, check out if you're going to learn anything, or is someone just going to talk to you. But that's something I'd really like to share. Meetups, events, but make sure the event is quality. So I love this cruise because this is the first time where, there's kind of enough critical mass in the industry for Coinsbank to get the entire ship. And I've asked so many people, because there's so many first-time cruisers on here with Coinsbank, and they were like, oh my gosh, I just know that wherever I go for coffee, somebody has a passion I have. And where can you find that? I mean, you go to your hotel, it's just so different. And also, there's just a vibe of people feeling like they can talk to anyone, and it's just really cool. And I would love to see 3 to 4 cruises a year.